Hello, everyone, and welcome to Reflections with Baba Yusuf. I am Mallam Baba Yusuf. Today, I will reflect on the 64th Independence Day in Nigeria, which was 1st of October 2024. And I will start with a quote by late Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, the first Prime Minister of Singapore, which resonates with me, and it goes like this. A nation is great not by its size alone. It is the will, the cohesion, the stamina, the discipline of its people, and the quality of their leaders which ensure it an honorable place in history. End of quote. This quote is apt to my reflection on the journey of the nation of Nigeria thus far. 5 days ago, as Nigerians, we marked and celebrated the 64th Independence Day in Nigeria with mixed feelings. While we celebrated 64 years of independence from colonial rule and 25 years of uninterrupted democracy on the one hand, on the other hand, we remember with nostalgia the sweet decades ago when the socio-economic conditions of Nigeria were far better than what we witness today. Our naira was stronger and more valuable, albeit it has been losing value in the past 40 years, with our GDP, inflation rates, and other indices far better and more promising, even in terms of projections. Unfortunately, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over the leadership of Nigeria with over 65% of the population, which is over 135 million, meaning 7 out of 10 Nigerians declared multidimensionally poor by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. Employment rates have been free falling. Insecurity has been escalating for the past 16 years, albeit we have seen some improvements in the past weeks with the onslaught of the terrorists in the northwest, onslaught on them by the Nigerian armed forces, which is commendable. But we need to see sustainability, because sustainability is key. Even though some Nigerians may retort that this is a time to celebrate, and I agree to some certain extent, but with over 65% of us in a multidimensionally poor state, it is also important that we remain not just aware of our poignant reality, but that we also, as government and as citizens, take the proper actions to make Nigeria a better place. Unless we all do so, especially the leaders, that we face the reality practically, decisively, with honor, integrity, and empathy, Nigeria will continue to slide into the abyss, of retrogression with devastating consequences. When 65% of the population of a country is multidimensionally poor, then that country is undoubtedly in trouble. Therefore, I appreciate that President Bola Tinubu decided that the Independence Day this year was marked in low key. Some good points to note and acknowledge are the fundamental, the fundamental rights of citizens, like freedom of expression, movement, and choices, as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution, have been largely enjoyed and sustained by citizens so far, more than it has been obtained or it was obtained during the military juntas, even though there should be improvements going forward. The ability of citizens to engage in politics, economy, social justice, unity, etc., engaging government directly and demanding for governance has increased significantly in the last 25 years, since the beginning of the Fourth Republic, because government have been consistently been put on their toes by citizens, civic society organizations, etc., by questioning strategies, policies, actions, and inactions. These are all, in my opinion, dividends of democracy. Indeed, we have come a long way as Nigerians, and we must appreciate how far we have come. But that being said, there is still much left to be desired in terms of what we are expecting from democracy. In my opinion, democracy is supposed to be a process that should produce dividends like lasting peace, unity, equity, justice, economic growth and development, social justice, value and cultural reorientation, etc. Furthermore, the political landscape is broadening and the political consciousness of Nigerians has evolved in the past 25 years, reaching its highest stage during the 2023 general elections, with citizens demanding good governance and increasingly knowing the power of their votes. The aforementioned key developments are gains of our independence, and therefore, so far so good. But if we pride ourselves on being the giant of Africa and considering where we are coming from, our position in Africa and in the Committee of Nations, then I dare say that for Nigeria, good is not great. A note to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. With profound respect, Mr. President, I submit to you as follows. Mr. President, in the foreword of your Renewed Hope manifesto during the campaign for president in 2023, you stated that, and I quote, "Our objective is to foster a new society based on shared prosperity, tolerance, compassion, and unwavering commitment to treat each citizen with equal respect and due regard." End of quote. The aforementioned excerpt encapsulates your overall vision for a better Nigeria, and I am of the view that that quote should form the overarching strategic thrust of your administration going forward, which in my opinion is a better Nigeria for all Nigerians and allies of Nigeria. I note and commend your Excellency's efforts in trying to turn around the socio-economic situation of Nigeria while managing our international relations, as you also steer the affairs of ECOWAS and Africa as you are elected for a second term as ECOWAS chair. However, many Nigerians, including myself, are apprehensive about the situation in Nigeria and what will come in the next month and years. Suffice things to say that there were high expectations when you took over the reins of power as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on the 29th of May 2023. This is due to the abysmal performance of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Therefore, it is such an irony that Nigerians, including some of your die-hard supporters, are now wailing as they glide into poverty, with some members of your while some members of your cabinet are throwing parties and insulting the same people that voted for you, who complain about insecurity, hunger, rising cost of living, etc. Mr. President, I hope that you use this Independence Day to reflect on the realities of Nigeria and how you can actually turn around the socio-economic situation of this country as a matter of urgency, because things are really tough. Meanwhile, we are glad to hear that you intend to rejig your cabinet for better performance at this crucial time. Indeed, Mr. President, you cannot run fast with ironclad shoes, because the input of your team is your output. I therefore totally agree with you that it is time that you get rid of the weaker links in your team. Indeed, performance is not measured by events, but performance is measured by impacts. May I seize this opportunity to humbly remind Mr. President of some critical success factors for Nigeria. 1. Initiating a process of national healing and national unity, equity, and justice. 2. Planning and execution of an anti-corruption and value reorientation strategy beyond mantra to action through realistic, practical, and pragmatic plans and actions. 3. Restructuring Nigeria. 4. Political will and high execution quotient at the top, starting with Mr. President to all leaders at all strata of governance. 5. Enforcement of regulations as well as the respect and compliance to the rule of law. 6. Review of the structure and cost of governance for an efficient public sector. 7. Entrenchment of the culture of meritocracy, competence, federal character, and performance. 8. Entrenchment of the culture of excellence and prudence in public sector by providing quintessential leadership, i.e., starting the reforms from the top and setting examples with zero tolerance to indolence, mediocrity, nepotism, and sycophancy. 9. Transparency and accountability in public service, resource allocation, and utilization. Mr. President, mine are words of a son to a father, the words of a citizen to his president on behalf of a lot of other Nigerians, the words of those that voted for you and also those that did not vote for you. Because as Nigerians, you remain our president and commander-in-chief, and for that you are responsible for guiding and leading this country. What we owe you is support, commitment for a better Nigeria, and the truth. Your Excellency, some of us will remain committed to adding our voices to healthy, progressive narratives and engagements, and also actively support you in building our nation. We will commend you where you do well, encourage you when and where you need it, and speak truth to power when and where necessary. Not out of sycophancy, malice, disrespect, or sabotage, but out of genuine love for Nigeria and based on my belief that a single leader alone cannot successfully lead a country. Indeed, I believe that the success of a nation is not based solely on the quality of a single leader, whom I call the focal point leader, but based largely on the collective support of some members of society that I refer to as the leadership value chain. I will share my thoughts on the concept of leadership value chain with you, Mr. President, and with my fellow compatriots very soon. Thank you, Mr. President. A note to handlers of Mr. President. I respect your various versatile skills, competencies, and capacities, which are some of the reasons why Mr. President hired you to handle his communication and publicity. However, I am of the humble opinion that there is a need for a review of Mr. President's communication strategy to be more proactive, pragmatic, sensing, influencing, and empathetic. In my view, some of the handlers and supporters of the president make the grave mistake of addressing all feedbacks from all Nigerians that are not in line with what they want as political and opposition, which is reminiscent of the President Buhari's era. That is wrong. There are a lot of good Nigerians, male, female, young and old, across party affiliations and creed, that mean well for Nigeria. Those citizens have the skills, capacity, and most importantly, the right to speak truth to power, and for the leaders to take the feedback seriously and speak and act in a manner that reflects respect and understanding of the people that elected Mr. President, and even those that did not elect him, because indeed, he is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and he and his administration are supposed to serve the people. In the case of opposition parties and personalities as well as critics, they are well known and they have their place in our democratic process. Essentially, in strategy, you don't get fixated on the messenger. If so, you will lose the objective, the focus, and the ability to effectively counter-maneuver or effectively deliver your mandate. So it is important to differentiate between distraction and substance and deal with them accordingly. Another key point to note is that the consistency of the handlers of Mr. President is crucial in managing the image of Mr. President and the expectations of Nigerians. To my fellow citizens of Nigeria, we must recognize that we all have roles to play as citizens, especially we, the elites, in influencing a change in our mindsets and behaviors, and the mindsets and behaviors of our citizens, so that we'll be able to drive positive change and be impactful for the betterment of Nigeria. I wish all Nigerians God's guidance and grace. May Almighty God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you for listening to today's episode, and look forward to sharing with you a bonus episodes coming out on Wednesday, next couple of days, while we wait out for the next episode coming on Sunday. Thank you very much for listening, and bye for now.